Okay, so I'll
Nate,
call
if you could just hold on, just Kathy. Nate, let us know when you're rolling, please. Started. Great. Thank you, Nathan.
Okay. All right. So we are going to reconvene into open session. We have nothing to report, and there will be no action taken on item 3.2. So we will move on to 3.3, public participation on non-agenda items. So I will look to Anna to see if there's anything coming in. No? Okay. So let me go ahead and read our broadcasting blurb. So individuals, well, I guess there's no comment, so I guess I don't need to read it. Okay, so we'll move on to the approval of the agenda then. Is there anything we need to move or?
So I would like, sorry, Kathy, I'd like to pull the personal action report, please.
Okay. So we can pull that when the motion is made, I believe, as well as making the note now. Does anybody have a concern with that?
No.
Any board members? Okay.
No.
All right. Anything else that needs to be moved or pulled? Okay. Then I'll ask to approve the agenda as is, pulling 9.2.
I'll move that we approve the agenda as it is with the removal of action item 9.2.
Okay, and a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Okay, so we'll move on to patriotic exercise with Trustee Schneider.
Thank you. So I thought a lot about what to do for this patriotic exercise. Can't really salute the flag. Obviously, Memorial Day to honor all the lives lost in the wars. And I do just want to mention, I know it really hasn't been in the news, but we did just pass our 75th anniversary of the unconditional surrender of Nazi Germany on May 8th. And so that's something to kind of appreciate. Kind of a different sort of war these days. I also, I think, take a moment to show appreciation and gratitude to the staff. I know we just did Staff Appreciation Day, and the teachers and everyone. It's trying times, and just kind of take a moment to thank them as well as the parents and the children. But I kind of wanted to have, we spend a lot of time appreciating different groups, and really never take the time, especially during times like this, to really salute the patriot within each one of us, as cheesy as that sounds. But I think I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate ourselves in dealing with everything that we're dealing with, whether you're angry a lot or happy a lot or depressed or frustrated, giving yourself the space to feel what you're feeling and deal with what you're dealing with. We're all so busy running around trying to figure things out for ourselves and for other people that we just forget to take that time. I was going to do a few moments of quiet, but I think if anyone logs in, they'll think there's no meeting going on, so I won't do that. And I just wanted to end with a couple quotes that I like that actually I saw kids come up with. One is, if plan A doesn't work, there's 25 letters left in the alphabet. Because right now, plan A is not working. And my favorite one from Dory is just keep swimming. So that's my patriotic exercise for this month.
Thank you, Scott, for that.
Sure.
All right, so we'll move on to acknowledgements. So Becky will lead us through, we have 4 this month.
Caldwell Flores Winter Scholarship, they typically provide a scholarship to a worthy senior, and this year they are giving Nick Queen, $3,500. And this is the largest scholarship that Caldwell Flores Winters offers. We don't typically get the big one for our student, but this year we did. So just a couple of jazz hands for Nick Queen. Good job, Nick Queen. So that's exciting. The Mendocino Coast Children's Fund, truly one of the true angels in our community. Annie Liner brought us 100 gift certificates to Harvest Market, $100 each to total $10,000. And our counselors have distributed those to needy families. So that's been huge. Thank you, Children's Fund. Certificated retirements. Kathleen Coleman has been a wonderful addition to our staff. I know it says 6 years, but it feels like she's been here much longer than that. She is a saint, and the population of students she has truly cared for the last 6 years. She's a remarkable, remarkable woman. So, jazz hands for her as well. And the Cummings Foundation donated $200 to the Odyssey of the Mind program. We're hoping that the kids will be able to do that again in the near future. So thank you, Cummings Foundation. Thank you, Mendocino Coast Children's Foundation. We are blessed with so many good, gracious community donors.
Okay, thank you very much. And it's nice. And usually Caldwell Flores does come and do a in-person, very nice presentation with the big check and the whole deal. So hopefully they did something nice for Nick. Maybe they sent them a little video or something. So congratulations and thank you to all the donations and generous people in our community. So now we have communication. I don't know if any board members have received any communication from the public or anything noteworthy. Should I go down a list maybe? We'll just go.
Kathy, you just muted yourself. And hey, we learned a great trick today, or not today, this week. Control D. Control D gets you muted and unmuted. So if you don't know about Control D, or just always leave yourself unmuted, board members.
Well, I'm trying to. I don't think I'm in a room with the door closed, so I don't think there's any feedback. But let's see. I'm going to go through this email. Nope. I was trying to find I guess I don't have the thing that has our names on it. Anna, will you go down the list? Your list, or
I could do it, Anna.
Okay.
Diana Paoli, you're first.
I believe we all received a nice letter from Julie Castillo, the Garden Julie, about all her interaction with students and over 150 staff. She was able to give starts for people's homes, the vegetables and flowers. And I also wanted to give a shout out to our Mary Macula. She was in the CSBA magazine this month, featuring in the spring for graduating from MIG in 2019, class of 2019. Congratulations, Mary.
Thank you.
Okay, Mary, you're up next.
Oh, okay. Well, I just received Julie's email also, and the gardens are amazing. And she's been helping with Noyo Food for us, which is awesome. And she's really something. And other than that, I've been reading the CSBA announcements and going to webinars and trying to keep busy. And I do want to recognize all the staff. I know it has been incredibly difficult I can't even imagine trying to teach without any preparation or any time to prepare. So huge shout out to all the teachers and staff, and to the DO. You guys have had to match or captain a very rough ship here. So good job. Thank you.
Trustee Mattson.
I have nothing to add, but I also agree with everything that Mary said, and thank you all. I know how it is trying to manage one child at home. I can't imagine trying to do 1,800 plus staff.
Yeah.
Please, Diana.
I believe we're in communications. So are we doing board reports now? Because I didn't do my report.
Sorry.
no, we'll go back through them.
Okay.
This
This
any
is
communication?
correspondence. And so that was what I was reporting.
Okay, any communication, Scott?
Not official communication, just a lot of conversations around graduation and other senior canceled or somewhat canceled events, but nothing really to report. I'm passing everyone on to the administration at the high school.
Okay. All right. And I received word from Annie Liner that the Children's Fund hopes to support a summer meal program for the district or for children of our community. So hopefully more information will come from them very soon. Okay. So now we move to public participation on agenda items. Anna, do we have anything yet? No? Okay. All right, I'll pause for a moment. Okay, we will move on to report. So now this is our official board report, and I'll go ahead and go first. I don't really have anything official to report. I did check in with the high school, and since there isn't a date in our agendas because a lot of the things are being canceled, he just wanted me to remind that on the 20th, their awards night is happening. The link has been sent out to the families that involves, and I believe Anna sent it to the board so we can attend. And then on the 20th, also, caps and gowns will be distributed to students' homes. I know there's some teachers working on that. And then on the 27th, scholarship night is happening, same thing. People that affects the link has been sent out. And then on Friday the 5th, there is the graduation parade that has been very, lots of people are working very hard on that. So it should be a nice event for what we can do under the current situation. So thank you for all the staff and parents that have been helping trying to get through that in a not idealistic time. And that's all I have. So I'll figure out how to go through it, Becky. So we'll go the other way this time. So Scott, did you have anything?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jerry?
Nothing.
Mary?
I already said it. Sorry, I went out of order.
Diana?
I checked in with Lundy, and she reported for Redwood that teachers are doing an amazing job getting their websites up and running with distant learning options. And they're also meeting with students regularly on Google Hangout. Support staff's also involved in distant learning that will help them serve the students when they're back on campus. And a shout out for high demand bilingual aides, Maria, Dahlia, and Isabel with their can-do attitude. And I just want to thank all the staff for being innovative and positive during this time because it's challenging for everyone. And I also wanted to speak on a resource. All the resources that are on our homepage are amazing. And I keep going back and finding new tidbits that would help our household. But on the California Department of Education, they did give a great educational resource for English language learner families. And it's Alas y Voz, which is wings and voice in English. But it looks like you can go on, of course, a website or on Facebook, and it just had tidbits and little, Google Classroom, which I think is on our homepage as well, how to, step-by-step how to get logged on and check it out. And I believe that is my report. Thank you.
Okay, so now we'll move on to our superintendent report. You're muted.
Okay, let's try that again. Control D, right? I just said that. So the first thing on the superintendent report is the TK and kindergarten enrollment. Just to remind our families, if you have a kiddo who will turn 5 between September 2 and December 2, your child qualifies for transitional kindergarten, and you can enroll with Fort Bragg Unified. We have a Google form online. You can be found at the district website and also at Redwood's website. Then if you have a kiddo who turns 5 years old on or before September 1, then you qualify for kindergarten. And enrollment is now open for both of those. And Anna, do you know the number of kinders?
42.
So it's really important that our moms and dads out there, to get the word out. So if your friend or neighbor has a kiddo of school age, please get the word out. We're a little worried about our TK and kindergarten enrollment right now because we are going to have to make staffing decisions. And if that number doesn't come up considerably, before August 1, we will be forced to potentially not have some kinder classrooms. So if you know anybody out there with a kinder age child, please encourage them to get on the district website and enroll their kiddo in kindergarten or transitional kindergarten. Next on the superintendent report is scholarships and graduation. Scholarship night, I believe someone just said that. It's going to be, looking at my calendar, it is May 20th, and the link for that was sent out. I'm not sure who just reported on that. Graduation, we are looking at parades. The Noyo parade is going to be on June 3rd, which is a Wednesday. That would typically be their graduation day. It will start over by the bus barn. That's where they will stage. I spoke with the public health director today, and I've been in contact with our city council and our chief of police, John Nolte. We have assured everyone, we've assured our public health officer, and we have assured Chief Nolte that our folks will remain in their vehicles. We will maintain physical and social distancing, and we will keep our community safe. So when students and their families are in their vehicles for the Noyo Lighthouse Adult School graduation, they will drive west on Laurel, turn right on Harold, head towards Cotton Auditorium. They'll stop in front of Cotton, step out to collect their diploma, take a picture, and then step back into their car. There will be no touching. There will be no handshaking, hugging, anything of the like. Then when they get back in their car, they drive westbound on Fur, and when they hit Franklin, the route is ended, and they can go on to their own private celebrations in their homes. On Thursday, June 4th, the middle school is preparing a promotion video, and that will be online so that folks can view it. On Friday, June 5th, beginning at 5 o'clock, the high school will have graduation festivities. And festivities is a loose word, because I assured the public health officer that this was not an event. This was folks will remain in their car. The police department and the fire department will help ensure that our folks are staying in their cars. Folks will leave the parking lot by the coastal trail off Cypress. They will head northbound on Highway 1. When they get to Oak Street, they'll turn right. They'll head eastbound on Oak till they get to Dana. At Dana, they're going to turn right and come through the high school and do a little maze through the high school. Then they will get to the south parking lot, where they will step out of their vehicle, take a picture, get their diploma, and get back in their vehicle. We will have live streaming from Dana Gray. We're going to position a camera right in the middle of Dana Street. We're going to close off Dana Street. Dana Street will not be open to the public so that we can enforce social distancing. And that's the plan for now. The high school will have more details for us as we get closer. That's the route. I know they've been working really hard on trying to make this a great event for kids. I know that they're talking about having a radio broadcast happening while this is going on, so kids can listen to it while they're in their cars driving. So the high school's been pretty incredible, and Noyo and Lighthouse have been pretty incredible trying to make this a momentous occasion and a very special occasion for our graduates. So considering the limitations that we have and what they are putting together is pretty great. So hats off to those teams. Questions for me? Seeing that there are none, we'll move on to summer school. So right now for summer school, the plan is to just hold a virtual summer school for our special education students who require it through their IEP. We are putting our migrant ed summer school that we typically have on hold. And basically we want to give our staff time to rejuvenate and to plan for an unknown August. And we want to give our campuses the opportunity to continue to do their deep clean and prepare for a physical distancing environment come August with no clear guidelines at this time. So we are looking at a very limited summer school offering. 100% dedicated to our extended school year for our students with IEPs. Do you have any questions on that? Okay, seeing none.
May I just
yes.
ask how many students will be participating in summer school?
I want to say it's around 30.
Oh, wow.
Okay. The LCAP, I provided a background sheet on the LCAP. Basically, I reported this the last time, but we wanted to make it formal. The LCAP is going to be due December 15th with the formal budget that will be due on December 15th. I've already begun the work with our principals to look at their goals in their school plans. We did LCAP community engagement meetings. We did one on March 3rd and we did one on March 5th before the shelter-in-place order went in. This will look a little different in light of the budget that was released today. However, we still are required to have an LCAP prepared for the community and for the board by December 15th. We will need to have a public hearing and then pass the LCAP in a subsequent regular board meeting. So for right now, you have the background information on the executive order and the due dates on the LCAP. Are there questions on the LCAP? Okay, moving right along. Now the fun stuff. We asked representatives from our teaching ranks to come in and give the board a brief kind of 411 Reader's Digest version of what's been happening through distance learning and remote learning with our students. President Babcock, I believe you asked if we could get people here at the last meeting to kind of give the board just a brief synopsis of what's going on. So we have 4 people here right now. We have Ksenia Kuglinskaya, I hope I said that correctly, from Redwood. We have Adam Kubo. Okay, Adam's here for something different, but Adam is here. We have Jason Godek from the middle school, and we have Carrie Fishman from the high school. So let's start with Ksenia. Ksenia, if you could unmute and then just tell us what grade you teach and a few things.
That Control D was helpful. Yeah, I'm a kindergarten teacher. I'm new this year at Redwood Elementary, and my internet is a little choppy, so please give me feedback if I need to slow down or repeat anything. Okay, so I wrote up a little something, and I'm going to read it. I'm not going to lie and say it has been an easy transition for any of us, not for us teachers nor for our families to transition to distance learning. But instead, I will focus on the positive and the good things that we at Redwood do to continue to stay engaged and connected. We really are priding ourselves on maintaining our relationships here at Redwood Elementary with our colleagues and most importantly, with our families. Our main concern is to stay connected and to maintain our relationships in a positive light through these hard times with our classroom families. I believe it is easier for us to achieve this because we truly feel that we are a team on our campus and even a family. This is in large part due to our leadership at Redwood. I am new both to the Mendel Coast and to the Fort Bragg Unified District, and so I've not had the experience of former years, but I've heard that there used to be a magical time at Redwood where it felt like a family and the happiest place on earth. Or maybe it was just Fort Bragg, or so that's what the saying went around here. This year, there is a buzz amongst the staff saying that that sense of magical happiness has returned. And as a new teacher, I feel like I've entered a paradise for teaching. So it must be true because I feel it as well. There really is no one to thank for that but our wonderful and graceful leader and principal, Miss Lundy Erickson. And before you think I'm just trying to please her, just know that this came from my colleagues and when I asked them for input on today's presentation. Lundy Erickson has led us with grace and honesty through all of this year's hurdles. We have felt her support and her humanity first and foremost. In these unprecedented times, she reminds us to stay connected, go outside, allows us to have our ups and our downs, to be honest with our feelings and difficulties, while also being honest herself on our hard days. She always begins the staff meeting with a gratitude from all of us, and that really sets positive tones. She relays the message over and over that the connection we make with families is of vital importance, and she allows us to prioritize the emotional well-being of our families. When we hit the ground running unexpectedly and with haste in distance learning, we each felt the full support of her and the honest directions of getting through these hard and daily changing times. But as she often says, we can do hard things. We have solid ground under our feet, thanks to Lundy. This has allowed us to connect with families in a way that would not be possible had we constantly been pushing to connect solely with academics. We are allowed to make sure our family's well-being is of primary importance in a time where a lot of families are struggling even to get through a day or find economic stability, let alone get acquainted with new tech platforms. We are in awe of the leadership and what it brings out of us to provide for our families. There's continuity at Redwood with the rest of the schools by way of the means that the district has provided and required. We have ensured each family has a Chromebook that wants or needs one. We use Aries. We gave out paper packets. We have our websites up and running, and we do Google Meets and check-ins on our family weekly, while we also encourage services and the like that are still available in these times. We provide extra resources through the Mendo Coast Children's Funds for those who are truly needing extra financial or material assistance. But there are things that my colleagues bring to Redwood that I find truly special and would like to highlight. We are finding new exciting activities every day to bring to our Google Meets, from our SPED teacher doing freeze dances and a lunch bunch, to a first grade teacher doing a smoothie and movie day. Our second grade teacher has made a YouTube channel with our school songs and other fun tunes that keep us all uplifted. Our librarian has read a book a day at the very least, even on the weekends. One of our first grade teachers has gone almost viral with her book read alouds, and we are all brainstorming ways to keep the kids engaged that is new, exciting, and refreshing. Our grade level teams have each united to make a unified website for each grade where we post many activities that families can access and important information. Our bilingual aides are working extra hard to connect our English language learner families to the resources at our school. Even our nutritional staff finds times to bake extra cookies for the kids to sneak into their weekly meals. We have support from Redwood Parents Club that's been phenomenal for our spirits and uplifting us with appreciations, treats, and donations of funds. I also provide a personal account of things that I'm offering, that I offer to my children, that are some things I would love to share. I have one little girl who struggled to connect on screen, and she would freeze up and disappear. She was recently diagnosed with special needs, and she comes from a family with many needs from other children. And I managed to get over my paranoia and do a physically distanced read aloud on her porch with her and her mom and her siblings, which really allowed her to feel connected and come back to our Google Meets. I'm scheduling a field trip to McCarricker Park at the end of the month through the state parks. I can keep my kinders engaged for a full hour on Google Meets, which is a huge accomplishment for me and my little kiddos as well, and their families. And I also use a lot of different platforms for my families, whichever they're comfortable with, whether that's emails or texts. But for the visuals, there's a lot of apps that they really rely on in their own personal families. So we've been trying to stay as connected as much as we can that will help with limited tech skills and sometimes even limited language skills. And I made collage scrapbooks for each child when handing out materials. There's so many ways, but the main thing is I stay connected and offer to be there as much as the parents and children are willing to accept. I'm emotionally and physically available to my families, even on the weekends and evenings. It is with pride that I'm going through this unprecedented time with the full support from such an incredible leader as our principal, with great friendships and colleagues, a near and dear grade level team, a wonderfully wise mentor, and the leadership from Miss Becky Walker. I think it is my only way to survive, and I do want to say it is hard, actually extremely hard. But not only am I surviving, but I'm thriving as best as I can. So a big thank you needs to be acknowledged, this wonderful support network under my feet and behind Redwood. That's it.
Thank you, Ksenia. You've done great work, and it's been wonderful to watch you evolve as an educator this year. And even through this, you've hit the ground running, and you've done so many really incredible things. So thank you for all that you've done, and thank you for that comprehensive and thorough report. Mr. Godek, how are you doing? Mr. Jason Godek, is this your second year with us or your third? I can't even remember now.
This was my third year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Godek is our outstanding art teacher at Fort Bragg Middle School. So he comes to us with some great stuff. So Mr. Godek, the floor is yours, sir.
All right. So yeah, I teach art to all grades at the middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And well, since I'm the art teacher, I thought I would just show you some stuff. So I'm actually going to take over your screens. If that's okay with you, if you don't feel too threatened by that. I'm going to take over your screens and show you some of the work that our students have been making, because I've just been so impressed with the things that they've been doing under these circumstances. So I'll show you some of their work, and while I'm talking to you about what we're doing at the middle school, you can see those things. All right. And you're just going to have to let me know if you see it. It's coming soon. All right. Can you see me? Or I should say, can you see the work?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. Great. Okay, so so that was a thumbs up. You're seeing student work right now. Beautiful. All right. Well, let me know if you can't hear me. I guess what I would say, obviously, I would say a big ditto to so much of what Ksenia brought up in her amazing report. I think for each of us at the middle school individually, we wish we were working with more of our students. But as a team, we're working really hard to try to stay in touch with everybody. So we meet as a staff every week, and then we also meet at grade level and go over a contact list for all of our students. And we just make sure that somebody is in touch with them in some format, whether that's a phone call or email or something in the classroom. And that way we just make sure that everybody is being in touch. And so once we identify if there are any students who are falling through the cracks, then we follow up, and also our administration, Laura and Mark, and our counselor, Erica, have been doing an amazing job reaching out to students and families. And I definitely just want to thank the administration and Erica, and certainly all the office staff and the janitors. They've been doing amazing things at the site while all of us are elsewhere. So yeah, we get together in grade levels every week as departments. We've been doing PBIS training with Dale Myers. He's been coming down, so our committee's been meeting with him, and then we meet in grade level with him as well, just to be ready to support our students when they come back in the fall. And so that's really been helpful. And yeah, so he meets with the committee for 90 minutes, and then he meets with each one of us as grade levels as well. We've been sending out postcards to our students, especially those that we haven't heard much from. And so we get postcards out to them. Thanks very much to the office staff for getting us those postcards and stamps. It's really been a nice thing to be able to do, to have a hands-on thing that is not digital. And one of our teachers, at least, has been sending letters home with little presents inside. That kind of blew my mind. And in terms of the postcards, I just wanted to say it's like us telling students that we're thinking of them, we miss seeing them, and we're really looking forward to seeing them again soon. So it's very much just trying to establish keep those relationships going. We have been sending out happy birthday emails and also phone calls to students. One of the things that's been happening in spite of all this is that we have gotten our web students together. So we have about 20 kids who will be 8th graders in the fall.
And Mr. Godek, could you remind everybody what web means?
Yeah, well,
and what it is?
Like Link at the high school, the web program is there to connect 8th graders with 6th graders and really to let those 6th graders feel welcome and part of the community and feel supported. So it's going to be our job, whatever school looks like in the fall, and the web leaders by extension, to be connecting with that incoming class and making sure they know that we've got their back and that we're going to do whatever we can to make them feel at home.
And WEB stands for Where Everybody Belongs.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Becky. So then in terms of like remote learning, I just love this one. Sorry. In terms of remote learning, we're all doing Google Classrooms. And we are also using the FBMS website and our own websites to try to keep parents up to date and so that they can keep track of how their students are doing. This should by no means be a reflection on how hard it is for parents to keep their students on track. It's just a nice little Van Gogh study. And what I think we're all finding is that different students respond to different kinds of questions or assignments or even modes of communication. So, for example, if I send out, as an art teacher, if I send out a verbal question, like the other day I asked my students, why do you think cartoon artists and comics artists so often make the heads really big on their characters? I heard back from students I hadn't heard from since March 17. So you just never know what kind of query or mode of communication is going to connect with a student. And so we're all searching for ways to pique their interest and keep them engaged. Because some students like taking pictures, and as you can see, and emailing those in or connecting, attaching those to the Google website. And then there are other kids who like to respond via like a Flipgrid video, and a lot of us are using that as well to give students a way to film. I have students do Flipgrid videos to just show me their work. You know, they'll show me something in their house, and then they'll show their work. Or they did Bob Ross impersonations. That's a Bob Ross painting on the left there. So they use Flipgrid videos that way, but they're using them in a lot of Google Classrooms. So yeah, it's been, we're having to use our imaginations. And we're definitely meeting with students. Most classes are meeting with them in Google Classroom, but the departments are all kind of doing things a little bit differently. For example, in the math department, they are doing the regular Google meeting, but they're also offering 8th grade math tutoring from 4 to 5 p.m. twice a week. And I know that one of the math teachers is also doing a Kahoot club and a karaoke club once a week. So really anything they can do to get students involved and connected is happening there. In 6th grade humanities, also like at Redwood, they're reading novels. And I think one teacher mentioned she's on her 4th novel with them now. So they're recording themselves reading. They read with students in the Google Classroom, really trying to keep their kids connected to literature. So we're also trying to find ways to get students engaged in projects at home, and the science department has been doing a lot with that. The life science class, they've been doing homemade projects like bird beaks, and they recently also had students camouflage butterflies and take photographs of them so that they would be invisible in the photograph, which sounded like worked out very well. In 6th grade science, students are doing labs during their Google Hangouts sometimes, and they recently all worked on making ice cream together in like plastic bags with ice, which I found very impressive. And so I guess what I would say in concluding is we would like to be connecting individually. We'd each like to be connecting with more of our students and having regular engagement with them, which is to say we're really looking forward to getting back with them in the classroom. But we're also doing whatever we can to keep our relationships with them going during this time. All right, so I'm going to stop presenting now. And I hope that you were able to see the work. And thanks for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Goda. Great job. Last but certainly not least, we have Ms. Carrie Fishman, English teacher extraordinaire at Fort Bragg High School.
Hi, everybody. Hi. So, globally, I'm just going to go in kind of a narrative format here. So at the beginning of the shelter in place, we had pretty good student participation. As a school, our primary concern was how do we keep students practicing their skills so that when they come back, they're not so terribly behind in their progress. And then the seniors were kind of a whole different conversation, and they have continued to be their own different conversation. throughout the duration of this situation. But within probably 2 weeks, the question became, how do we get them to stay with us? And less concerned about honing their skills and even maintaining their skills, as more concerned with like triaging the loss of their, brain matter and ability to practice and participate in formal academic situations. So as you can imagine, once word became public that their grades could not be affected, it became an incredible challenge for the teachers to keep the students engaged. And everyone really just went to incredible acrobatic extents to change and develop curriculum that would appeal to the students, that would be relevant to their personal lives, that would interest and engage them, but yet would somehow still also be practicing this academic skill that our subjects are supposed to entail. So we've had a lot of teachers do, everybody's doing meets online. In fact, I have a color-coded master schedule that we went to incredible lengths as a school to develop. So every class has a devoted hour a week to a meeting that no other classes will conflict with. Everybody's using Google Classroom, which then brought up its own host of problems, because when everybody's disseminating information on Monday on Google Classroom, students are getting overwhelmed. And if a student gets overwhelmed, they're going to stop showing up. So in response to that situation, we all took a day of the week that would be our information dissemination day, so that students wouldn't be overwhelmed by an onslaught of assignments every Monday. So to every roadblock that's come up, we've strategized as a team to find a way around that, to find a way to meet students' needs. And we've been getting a lot of student feedback and asking them what they need and what they want and what will help them to stay engaged. So examples that aren't my subject, for example, are that our ag teacher was bringing real world problems with her animals to her students and asking them for their input, like, how do I solve this problem with my cattle? And that was very engaging for the students. I'm going to go ahead and show you an example of something that I developed with my colleague, Amy Sariski, for English 11 as a response to the declining participation that we had. So we strategized that students would feel more excited if they could have different choices of what they did to practice English. So we developed a series of modules that students could select from that all study the background of a fairy tale or story or symbol. Like, for example, the first modules were Alice in Wonderland, King Arthur, vampires, and unicorns. So I'm going to go ahead and show the overview of that here. And mind you, even so, the fact is, I think, as we all know, that you can't make everybody happy. So it didn't guarantee that we have participation, but many students expressed that they appreciated it. So let's see. Yep, there it is. So for each of these modules, it's kind of like a teeny tiny unit of what we would do in English, but really streamlined, really toned down, all short things, very digestible that students can accomplish in probably a 20-minute chunk per activity, because after 20 minutes, we've probably lost them, to be frank. So this kind of like is a boiled down version of what a unit might be in an actual English class, or something that they might do for a simplified kind of research project they might do in a small group. for every assignment, and this isn't just me, this is all the English teachers, we're all making YouTube videos to go over the assignments so the students can see our faces. They can see us interacting with the document just like we would in class, even though some of us are like mortified to be on camera. So everything has like instruction associated with it. And then all of these links go to adult level, not all of them. Many of these links are adult level reading, but short articles about the topic, and then there's a textual excerpt. This happens to be a child's book, The Last Unicorn, but it's a classic. And then we've offered some extra credit. So, and the extra credit is more like, if we were in class, we'd make you do this part, but we found that it was 5 items was a little too much the first time we offered this kind of an assignment. So we had to make a couple to be extra credit. And then, so this is like reading a number of sources and then finally culminating them into a writing task that answers the central question. But the writing task is more of a cut and paste job. So this shows you that each day is broken down, day 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is, we're all doing this, like breaking everything into really bite-sized pieces. And we give the students enough time so that they do not have to do it every day, but they can do it over 3 days or whatever time they decide to devote to it. So in this example, there's really guided instructions about writing summaries and then a sentence frame to write topic sentences. So their final writing task is really more of a cut and paste job, and then making it pretty and adding other elements to an essay so that they're practicing formal writing. And I'm going to give them feedback on their formal writing, and I'm going to correct things. And some of them will make those changes because they want to they want to do it right. And then others are just, punching the clock, so to speak. And then some we haven't heard from. So again, we've gone to like extreme lengths to compile the information of who we're hearing from, how much we're hearing from them, and who of their teachers they are communicating with. So our most recent task in that vein was to coordinate students' turn-in rates by period. So for the entire student body, we have a spreadsheet of the percentage of work they've turned in to every class period for the entire school. And that's the last big undertaking we did. So the administrators and the counselors and the teachers are using a lot of time to make phone calls and try to get in touch with everyone so that everyone knows that they can turn work in, they can get their grades up. We are here for them. So does anyone have any questions about what's going on at the high school or in English in particular?
I have some questions about Google Classroom.
Oh, sure.
So I have 2 teenagers, so I won't divulge who's the one I'm learning about their learning skills. But some teachers do a recap of the Google Classroom, so you at least as a parent, you can see maybe what they're supposed to be working on during the week, and so you can maybe ask some pointed questions because they are teenagers. Did you do your work? And some actually give you a code so you can look on Google Classroom. So I'm just wondering why that variation, why sometimes a teacher gives you a code and some just give you a recap email. And then the third question would be, as a parent, can I look to see when my child's logged in last? Is there a way to do that on Google Classroom?
I like that question, but I don't know that. I love that question. Not sure. Those are all really good.
Hold on just a second. Carrie, I'm going to interrupt you. Ari, do you know the answer to that question? Okay, unmute.
It's a total battle what everybody's up against. There is Guardian mode, and Guardian mode is kind of where The parent has sort of an account attached to the Google Classroom to see what the student has done, to see what they're supposed to be doing. Similar to Aries, but it's tied directly with the Google Classroom. A lot of it, I think, is that we just hit the ground running so fast and that not everyone is even aware of all of these features. That's really what I think the problem is. The tech is mostly there, and to be honest, I've messed with Guardian for, I don't know, maybe a couple of hours to make sure that it worked and saw that it functioned.